I took the job at Clearwater Medical Center because the pay was exceptional and the hours were flexible. Night shift orderly, midnight to 8 a.m. Simple tasks: restock supplies, transport patients, clean equipment. The HR manager emphasized the pay twice during my interview, $34 an hour, well above average for the position. I should have asked why. My first night was a Tuesday in November. The training supervisor, an older man named Marcus, met me in the employee entrance at 11:45 p.m. He had the look of someone who'd worked nights for too long. Gray skin, dark circles, a permanent exhaustion in his eyes. "You read the employee handbook?" he asked as we walked through the dim corridors. "Yes, sir." "Good. Forget most of it. I'm going to tell you the real rules, the ones that matter." He stopped at a supply closet and handed me a key card. "This gives you access to every floor except sub-level 2. You will never need to go to sub-level 2. If someone tells you to go to sub-level 2, you refuse. If you receive a page to sub-level 2, you ignore it. If you somehow end up on sub-level 2, you leave immediately and report to me. Understand?" Okay, why?" "Because those are the rules," Marcus said flatly. "Next rule. Between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., if you hear a child crying in the east wing, you walk the other direction. Don't investigate. Don't tell anyone. Just walk away." "Is this a joke?" He looked at me with something between pity and annoyance. "Do I look like I'm joking? You wanted this job. These are the rules. Rule 3. If you ever encounter a patient in a yellow gown, you do not interact with them. You do not make eye contact. You turn around and walk away. There are no patients in yellow gowns at Clearwater. Do you understand what I'm saying?" I didn't, but I nodded anyway. "Last rule," Marcus continued. "If you enter a room and the shadows don't match the light sources, you leave immediately. Don't try to figure it out. Don't take a second look. Leave." He handed me a radio and a printed schedule. "You'll be fine as long as you follow the rules. Most nights are normal. Most nights, nothing happens. But the nights when something does happen, the rules keep you safe." He left me there in the hallway, and I spent the first 2 hours of my shift restocking supply carts and wondering if I'd made a terrible mistake. At 2:47 a.m., I heard it, a child crying. High-pitched, desperate sobs echoing from somewhere in the east wing. My instinct was to investigate. Maybe a pediatric patient was scared, needed comfort. But Marcus's warning stopped me. I turned and walked toward the west wing instead, restocking equipment that didn't need restocking, focusing on anything except those cries. They lasted for 7 minutes, then stopped abruptly. I told myself it was a test. Maybe Marcus was evaluating whether I'd follow instructions. But when I saw him again at 6 a.m. during shift change, he asked me one question. "Did you hear anything unusual?" "No," I lied. He studied my face for a moment, then nodded. "Good." The following nights were unremarkable. I settled into the rhythm of night shift work, the eerie quiet, the flickering fluorescent lights, the occasional patient being wheeled through for emergency procedures. I almost convinced myself that Marcus's warnings were just hazing, a way to mess with the new guy. Then came my Friday shift, 2 weeks in. I was transporting a patient to radiology at 3:15 a.m. The patient was sedated, unconscious. I wheeled the gurney through the second floor corridor, and as I passed a window, I caught a reflection that made my heart stop. Someone was following me, a figure in a yellow gown, about 15 feet behind the gurney. I remembered the rule. Don't make eye contact. Don't interact. Walk away. But I was in the middle of transporting a patient. I couldn't just leave them. I kept walking, pushing the gurney faster, eyes forward. In every window I passed, the reflection showed the same thing. The figure in yellow, maintaining the exact same distance, moving in perfect synchronization with me. I reached radiology. The tech was waiting. I transferred the patient, completed the paperwork. The entire time I felt that presence behind me, just out of my peripheral vision. The radiology tech didn't seem to notice anything. When I left radiology, I walked fast. No running. That would break the illusion that everything was normal. But fast. The figure in yellow followed. I could hear it now. Soft footsteps that matched my own rhythm. I turned a corner sharply, then ducked into a supply closet and held my breath. Footsteps passed by the door, stopped, came back, stopped directly outside the closet. The door handle began to turn. I grabbed a metal supply tray, ready to use it as a weapon if needed. The door opened slowly. I raised the tray. Marcus stood there. "You saw one," he said. It wasn't a question. I nodded, lowering the tray. "Come with me." He led me to an unused patient room and told me to sit down. Then he told me the truth about Clearwater Medical Center. In 1987, there was a fire in Sublevel 2, psychiatric ward. 47 patients died. The hospital covered it up, relocated the psych ward, sealed off the sublevel. But the patients, some of them never left. They don't appear often. Maybe once a month someone sees one. They wear yellow gowns because that's what psych patients wore back then. "Why don't they just shut down the hospital?" I asked. "Because it's not the building," Marcus said. "It's something else. Something that started with the fire. We had a priest come in 1989. He tried to perform a cleansing. He died 3 days later. Heart attack. We had a psychic in 1995. She lasted one night and refused to come back. Said there were too many of them and they were too angry. So what do? We follow the rules. We don't provoke them. Most of the time they're just echoes, impressions. They can't hurt you unless you engage with them, unless you acknowledge them. The moment you make eye contact, the moment you speak to them, they become real. And that's when people get hurt. I worked at Clearwater for 3 more months. I followed the rules. I saw the figure in yellow twice more. I heard the child crying every Thursday night at exactly 2:47 a.m. I never went to Sublevel 2. But one night, a new orderly started, young kid. Didn't listen to Marcus's warnings. Thought it was all superstition. At 3:30 a.m., he received a page to Sublevel 2. Against all advice, he went. They found him the next morning in the sealed corridor, sitting against a wall, staring at nothing. He wouldn't speak, wouldn't respond to his name. He was transferred to a psychiatric facility upstate. Last I heard, he still hasn't spoken. Just sits in his room, staring at the corner, rocking back and forth. I quit the next day. The exit interview was conducted by the HR director, who asked me why I was leaving. "Personal reasons," I said. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You lasted longer than most, 93 days. That's actually impressive. How many people have worked this position?" I asked. She glanced at her computer. "You were the 16th night orderly in the past 2 years." I walked out of Clearwater Medical Center and never looked back. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear it. That child crying. And I know that somewhere in that building, the figures in yellow are still walking the corridors, searching for someone who will look them in the eyes, searching for someone who will finally acknowledge that they're still there.